When people hear the word composer, the first thought often drifts toward the Royal Albert Hall and its Proms concerts, rather than to the worlds of rock or pop. Yet, in reality, every musician composes in some way, even if their work is never performed by the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra in a grand concert hall. A piece of music remains a composition, whether it's notated on manuscript paper, produced with ProTools in a teenager's messy bedroom, or created collaboratively in a studio by a band. This brings us to Deep Purple's Ritchie Blackmore. Although he has always been firmly rooted in rock, his passion for classical music has been an inseparable part of his artistic identity. Over the years, this influence has subtly shaped nearly every riff and melody he has written. When Blackmore refers to himself as a composer, it is impossible to ignore the classical undertones in his work. He is not someone who would use that term lightly. In a 1979 conversation with Sounds magazine, he reflected on his evolving relationship with classical music. As a teenager, he admitted that he resisted the genre because it had been pushed on him, but later in life he felt a responsibility to encourage younger listeners to give it a chance. Whenever the topic turns to rock musicians with classical leanings, it feels natural to mention Paul McCartney. On his official website in 2024, McCartney described how Bach inspired him when writing Blackbird, and he also spoke about his admiration for Mozart. He recalled a saying attributed to Mozart, something along the lines of using notes that love each other, and explained that he embraced the same philosophy, believing that great chords are built on notes that naturally belong together. For most listeners, McCartney's subtle nods to classical music may go unnoticed, but Blackmore has always recognized them clearly. To him, McCartney stands among the finest when it comes to true composition. By 1987, McCartney's career was at an awkward crossroads. He was seen as too established to be a modern pop figure, yet not old enough to be enshrined as a legend. At the time, Blackmore defended him passionately in Metal Hammer, pointing out how unfairly Melody Maker had been treating McCartney. He considered McCartney the greatest composer of the past century and criticized the press for focusing on superficial details such as his wealth, appearance, or personal life, likening the criticism to the kind of attacks Beethoven might have faced in his own time. Nearly 40 years on, Blackmore's once controversial defense seems prophetic. While McCartney's catalog isn't classical music in the strictest sense, it continues to resonate across generations. His work will likely endure for centuries, and his name may one day be spoken with the same reverence as Beethoven or Bach.